Regrésense para atrás. No estén haciendo eso. Mira al niño. ¡Ey, cuidado! ¡Cuidado con el niño! ¡Cuidado con el niño! ¡Regrésense! ¡Ya viene la policía! ¡Ya viene la policía! ¡Ya viene la policía! ¡Regrésense!
Ya quedó mi, ¿cómo se llama? Ya pasamos, ya pasamos.
No crucen, no.
Agárrame a la nena, por favor. Vete. Vente, niña, vente con tu mamá.
Está llorando y se piensa salir del hogar.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahushai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Wukah, Kudash. Double honors to the apostle of great millstone who ruled well and taught us this truth, and salutation to the Archon out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life to do so for Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp, and the reason why I brought out the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11 is that this devil, all right, these red Hebrew Edomites, from Donald Trump to the Fortune 500 companies, okay, to celebrities, they have been profiting off the detention facilities that were built, okay, to stop, okay, illegal immigration, all right? And what Donald Trump just came out this week stating that he wanted to cut foreign aid to El Salvador because they're not doing enough, quote unquote, is proof that they don't care about migrants coming to the border and crossing illegally. It gives them, okay, the opportunity to exploit our people, put them into these detention facilities, all right, and make them work cheap labor. And I'm going to get into multiple articles that backs this up, all right? And that's why our people, you cannot be ignorant to Satan's devices, all right? Donald Trump doesn't care about, okay, illegal immigration. In fact, he's all for it, all right? Because he makes money for him and his rich elite sons of bitches, as he likes to call our people sons of bitches. Well, I'm going to use tough language. You sons of bitches, all right? So now let's get into this article, because this proves that you're dealing with the devil here, man. And you cannot be ignorant to Satan's devices. U.S. officials said aid to El Salvador helped slow migration. Now Trump is canceling it, right? This is El Salvador, all right? One of the three main countries where you have migrants fleeing from, okay? And El Salvador has actually been saying, all right, which is from the tribe of Zebulon, hey, that foreign aid's actually been helping us. Okay, I'm going to get into the article because it breaks it down. Until last week, U.S. officials held up El Salvador as proof. Notice it says U.S. officials held up El Salvador as proof that foreign aid could help curb migration. The partnership between the two countries drew praise from diplomats, members of Congress, and even America's top border enforcement officials, right? So you're having the border enforcement officials, Congress, all right, and diplomats saying, hey, that foreign aid that we've been getting from America is actually curbing migration here in El Salvador. But watch this devil, Donald Trump's, watch what he says. Then President Trump announced that he was withdrawing economic assistance to the Central American country and its neighbors, Guatemala and Honduras. Right now, he wants to stop the foreign aid. Why? To increase the flow of migration into the country, into America. All right, so that ICE can capture them, all right, and put them into these, okay, forced labor camps, okay, which I'm going to get into, and make them work cheap labor. All right, we're going to get into this. All right, you're going to see how sophisticated this devil really is. They haven't done a thing for us, the president said Friday. The claim baffled development officials and Salvadorians who saw the country's cooperation with the United States on security, civil society, and economic development as a success story, in as much as it achieved the Trump administration goal of slowing the flow of migrants heading north to the United States. In the past 3 years, both El Salvador's homicide rate and migration flows have declined sharply. More than 72,000 Salvadorians were apprehended crossing the U.S. border in 2016. By 2018, the number had plummeted by more than half, to fewer than 32,000. So guess what? These red Hebrew Edomites are like, hey, we got to bump up these numbers, man. All right, cut the aid. All right, we need more cheap labor. We need to pay these people cheap because, all right, we cannot continue paying these schmuck Americans minimum wage. All right, I'm gonna get into these other articles. Bear with me. All right. The decision to cut funding contradicts the results of what we have accomplished together, Raul Lopez, El Salvador's Vice Minister of Justice, said Monday. The fact is that migration from El Salvador has declined thanks to our work. The United States has spent hundreds of millions of dollars in recent years on programs aimed at bringing stability to one of the world's most dangerous countries. Money has been spent to train police officers, fund after-school programs, and improve local governance. U.S. officials argue repeatedly that those programs were successful, and they offered them crime and migration statistics that they said prove their claim. What El Salvador is doing is working, both on security front and the economic opportunity front. U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McAleen said in July. Right. So this was said last year, all right? And this article came out recently, okay? Just proving that, all right, they're not even listening to their own officials, all right? Because there's levels to this. These rich sons of bitches, all right, the ones at the top, they need these so-called migrants of the Northern Kingdom, all right, the Israelites, all right, to go in illegal to these countries so they can capture them and force them to labor. Trump said he was cutting off aid to El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras because the countries have failed to curb migration to the United States. He has accused those three countries of allowing their citizens to join migrant caravans, destined for the U.S. border, right, which is all a stage setup. Why? For this. Let's go to this. January 29, 2019, end forced labor and immigrant detention, all right? That's why you cannot believe this devil, all right? You cannot be ignorant to Satan's devices. Let me get another scripture, man, because Donald Trump, man, and his rich sons of bitches, all right, want this cheap labor. His mouth is full of cursing, deceit, and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity, right? And that's this devil, the wicked, all right? The wicked through the pride of his conscience will not, right? Psalms 10 and 4, the wicked through the pride of his conscience will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is none of those, right? And that's these red Hebrew Edomites, these rich sons of bitches who want to exploit, who want to harm our people. That's why I put in that post-production. You see what our people are going through, all right? Because they have no choice, all right? Because they're experiencing these harsh conditions, and it's all designed for them to run up into the border and be captured, all right, so they can work in these forced labor immigration detention. Now check this article. See how sly and these devils really are, man. You have to pay attention to them. There are more than 48,000 people being held in immigrant detention in more than 200 facilities in the United States. More than 2/3 of them, according to the National Immigrant Justice Center, all right, this is funded by the federal government, are confined by private companies, right? These are private companies benefiting off, all right, the immigration detention facilities, the immigrants, okay, the migrants come into this country, okay, so-called illegally, all right, are confined by private companies working on contracts with the federal government, right, because the federal government gives them money to the private company to build these facilities, all right, and house these immigrants to work forced labor camps. You see how it's all connected? Those numbers have ballooned in the last 2 years under the Trump administration, right? Trump's strict foreign policy, immigration policy, drawing new attention to the terrible condition detainees are living in, right? One feature of privately run centers, the voluntary work program, is the subject of 6 separate lawsuits, which say that privately run immigrant detention centers are coercing detainees into working for $1 a day and punishing those who don't, right? So you want to know where the jobs went to? All right, to the illegal immigrants who are being forced into labor for $1 a day. That's where the jobs went to, all right? That's where they went to. You see how this devil operates? All right, and he's going to keep pushing this, all right? Going to keep pushing this. The lawsuit demand, among other things, that the practice stop and that the detained workers be paid minimum wage, right? And that's the Democrats, all right? Still, okay, having these people work, but give them minimum wage. Congress should not wait for their lawsuit to be decided. Democrats have won the House, so even if they can't stop the president's anti-immigration push, they can push to raise the obsolete and exploitative $1-a-day wage. And just as they have rejected Mr. Trump's request for $5.7 billion for the border wall, they should reject the request for $2.8 billion to expand detention to 52,000 beds, right? And who's asking for this? ICE. ICE is asking this. And ICE is asking, okay, the federal government for $2.8 billion, all right? And they're going to take that money and give it to the private companies known as what? Well, it's going to get there, all right? Prison labor is nearly as old as the American prison system itself and is protected by the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery and indentured servitude except as punishment for a crime. This exception means that prisons can require the prisoners to work even without compensation, right? And this is what's going on in the prison industrial complex, all right, for our people born here in Babylon, all right, that they're working, okay, free labor or cheap labor, just like their brothers and sisters who are coming into this country, all right, fleeing for their lives from all the atrocities that's been going on, all the gang violence, which, let me get to that part right here, because it says right here, it says, but immigrant detention and civil confinement, not criminal. People held in these facilities are not charged with any crime. They're being detained while awaiting asylum or the deportation hearings. Why? Why are they awaiting asylum deportation here? Let's go back to this article. All right. Bear me one moment. Check this out. You gotta watch. You gotta see how these devils operate, man. These devils are these red Hebrew Edomites, man. They create in the conditions of why our people are jacked up. All right. Migration from 3 nations of Central America's Northern Triangle rose rapidly from 2012 to 2016. Much of it undocumented minors fleeing growing gang violence. That's who's asking for asylum. All right. It's not these old 40-year-old, okay, El Salvadorians or Zebulon. All right. These are young, okay, men, ages 17, 16. All right. According to the Center for Global Development, more than 8% of 17-year-olds from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras arrived at the U.S. border from 2011 through 2016. In a separate study linking violence to migration, it found that every 10 additional murders in those 3 countries, 6 more children migrated to the United States, right? And this has all been done by the red Hebrew Edomites. He creates the conditions, all right? And now he wants to cut the foreign aid in these countries, all right? To increase these conditions, all right? Because why? They're young. They haven't been indoctrinated, okay, as much. So then they'll go into these detention facilities, work cheap later, and be indoctrinated under the Babylonian system, all right? Babylon, the red Hebrew Edomites indoctrination, all right? In 2015, El Salvador recorded 103 homicides for every 100,000 residents, more than 20 times the rate in the United States, right? And this is all gang violence. That's why you're having a high volume of asylum seekers. And these private prison companies, all right, invested by these rich men and women, from celebrities to the Fortune 500 companies, they love this stuff, all right? They love this stuff. They're all for it. Check this out. It says, now let's go back to this exploitation, man. This is why you red Hebrew Edomites, you so-called white people, you're going down, man. Your days are numbered, all right? We here at Great Millstone, through the spirit power of Yahweh Shemal Shai, we see what you're doing to our people. Let me get this scripture out. Zechariah. Because at the end of the day, the Bible said this is exactly what you devils are all about, man. All right? You sons of bitches are going to pay, man, dearly. All right? Oh, and if you don't like my tough language, all right, you can get the fuck off my channel. All right? This is talking to our people. All right, you seriously need, you're a bunch of hypocrites, man. Look what these devils are doing to our people, man. Zechariah 11:5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, right? Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, right? And this is how they're doing it, man. This is how they're selling our people, man. All right, this is new form of slavery, man. A more modern, sophisticated way, okay? For I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them right. The leaders of our people failed us, man, all right? Because they don't bring this out, man. In fact, they're invested in the private prison, okay, companies, all right? Which I'm going to get that article coming out real soon. Bear with me. There's more. But immigration detention is civil confinement, not criminal. People held in these facilities are not charged with any crime. They are being detained while awaiting asylum, right? Because they're escaping these gang violent, okay, countries, or deportation hearings. On their Immigration and Customs Informant's voluntary work program, however, immigrant detention centers need not pay workers more than $1 a day, a rate set by Congress in 1950 and codified in 1978 Appropriations Act, right? So they never changed it. This has been going on for decades, all right? You so-called white people, you rich, okay, red Hebrew Edomites, you're going to pay for this, man. The Lord is going to jack you up, all right? You're getting rich off our people, man, okay? And you're investing in these companies, all right, in these private prisons, all right? And you're getting rich off our people, all right? It has never been increased or adjusted for inflation, right? All right, this is what they're paying. Okay? So now let's read the atrocities of what our people are going through. All right? By the way, this all came out this year, okay? So this isn't, oh, these articles are out of the box, all right? Detainees say that the voluntary work program is not really voluntary. If they attempt to take a day off or refuse to work, staff members punish them by withholding essential items, threatening to move them to more dangerous housing units or locking them in their cells. You know, this is why you Red Hebrew Edomites, you're going to get destroyed, man. The Lord sees what you're doing, man. All right? Wilhan Hill Benarentis, a Guatemalan asylum seeker and a plaintiff in the lawsuit against Core Civics, right, which is a private prison company, Stewart Detention Center in Georgia, said that he had to either work for a few cents an hour. Few cents an hour? What happened to the dollar? So they're paying him less. Or go without basic things like soap, which he could get only through the commissary. Wow. All right? Where's that scripture that I don't want, man? You devils, man. The Lord's gonna jack you up, man. The Lord's gonna jack you up. This is bullshit. Woe, Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed right. And that's you devils, you so-called Red Hebrew Edomites, man. All right? That's bullshit what you're doing. Okay? Forcing them into labor. If they don't, you're going to take away basic items they need to sanitize themselves, to keep themselves clean with soap. All right? Verse 2. To turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Right? And you're a prey, man. All right? You're robbing the fatherless, man. You're a prey to our people, man. All right? And that's why the Lord is going to jack you up, man. All right? That's why the Lord is going to mess you up, man. Let's continue going on. Says, according to Mr. Benanthos' lawsuit, one night a guard awakened him for 2 a.m. shift in the kitchen rather than his scheduled 10 a.m. shift. When he refused, the guard threatened to move him to a violence-plagued dormitory. So Mr. Benanthos acquiesced. He said, basically said, I'll do it because I'm not trying to be in these horrendous conditions. And that's what you devils have been doing to our people, man. Martha Gonzalez from Mexico was detained in 3 different core civic prisons in Texas from May 2016 to August 2017 as she awaited a T1 visa, which is granted to victims of human trafficking, right? Because also sex trafficking is happening among women and children, man, all right? And this is all designed by the Red Hebrew Edomite. He's doing this. She worked in the kitchen and sorted clothing. When she once tried to take a day off, she told me the prison staff then punished her by refusing to give her basic hygiene supplies such as sanitary pads and toothpaste. Wow, man. You some real grimy sons of bitches, you Red Hebrew Edomites, you rich men, all right? The Lord's going to fuck you people up, man, all right? You fucking people are done, man. You Edomites are finished. All right, Lord sees all this. So here's the point. Private corporations hold less than 10% of the nation's prison population, but more than 70% of people in immigration detention. Yep, you see? You see? So Donald Trump's policy, all right, is actually making these prison companies money and those that are invested in it. Let's go. All right. Let me get to the, wait, let me finish this off. The government pays them a fixed daily price per person, so they have an economic incentive to run their facility as cheaply as possible, relying on detainees to cook meals, mop hallways, scrub toilets, mow lawns, and even cut hair. All right? Because that's America's bullshit system, capitalism, all right? All right? Find the cheapest way to cut cost, All right, so you can make more money. And that's why in Micah 6 and 12, for the rich men thereof are full of violence, and the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth. Right, and that's Donald Trump. I'm tough on immigration policy. No, you love this stuff so you can have your friends make money off the exploitation and the imprisonment of the children of Israel. All right? We here at Great Millstone, through the Spirit Power Yahweh Shem Shah, we see through your bullshit. All right? You scumbag, you sons of bitches. All right? And you so-called Christians, man, you can shut the fuck up. I hate you so-called Christians, man. I cringe when I hear you speak, all right, and talk and run your mouth about the Bible, man. You don't know shit. We're living in the last days, man. The Lord is coming back to judge for all this, man, for this madness. Let me go to the book of Amos 9 and 8. Before I bring out this scripture, man. Behold, the eyes of the Lord power upon the sinful kingdom, and I'll destroy from off the face of the earth, saying that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. Right. So the Lord has pronounced judgment on Babylon, America. This place is going to be judged, all right, for all its wicked deeds, for all its wicked acts, and all those that had a hand in it, all right? Saying I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob. Right, because who's going to get delivered? The elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3 of men, women, and children who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans of today, as well as confusion as faces scattered abroad among the heathen. They are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. That is who the Lord came for. That is who he died for. And that's who he's going to deliver in these last days from the coming judgment, especially here in Babylon, America. Let's go to this article. Banks bow to pressure to stop profiting from Trump's immigration policy, but big tech remains defiant. Right. So now, because they've been exposed, by the way, this article came out in January. Now these banks are saying, oh, we're going to pull away from investing in these prison corporations. All right. President Trump's zero tolerance immigration policies are forcing corporate America into a tricky calculus. Embrace the business opportunities presented by the expanded immigration detention regime, or heed the backlash from the public, or heed the backlash from the public and even their own employees. You see that? So all these corporations have had a hand in the exploitation of the children of Israel and have invested in the immigration detention policies. You see that? You see how these devils work, man? Do not be ignorant of Satan's devices, man. Last week, J.P. Morgan Chase, the nation's largest bank, became the latest major corporation to distance itself from the Trump's immigration policies. So, obviously, this piece of shit, okay, company finally had to pull away after 2 years of profiting off this, all right? Concluding that its investments in private detention centers conflicted with its broader business strategy. We will no longer bank the private prison industry, spokesman Andrew Gray said in a statement. The announcement follows similar moves by Wells Fargo and U.S. banks, which told the Washington Post they are in the process. So they're still investing in these companies. They're now in the process. Why? Because that's these rich piece of shits. All right? That's these cocksuckers, man. They're figuring out ways so they can pull out and not lose money for pulling out from these investments. That's what they're doing, all right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the dollar from these cocksuckers, man. All right? The Lord's going to destroy America, man. All right? There's no stopping it. Activists who waged a 2-year campaign against J.P. Morgan's investments hope that mounting public pressure will prod other financial giants, such as Bank of America, to follow suit. But they acknowledge that it's much harder to persuade tech firms such as Amazon, Palantir, and Microsoft, and these are the three biggest tech firms, all right, multi-billion companies, all right, to withdraw from lucrative federal contracts with agencies charged with mass surveillance and deportation, right? So they're making money off this, all right? And if you understand the scriptures, these tech companies must be heavily invested in these prison industrial complex because that's how they're able to push the RFID chip, the microchip, the mark of the beast, all right? They need these prison companies, these private prison companies, who they're invested in to push their agenda, all right? You see how this devil operates? Be not ignorant of Satan's devices, all right? These devils are the red Hebrew Edomites, all right? Their mouth is deceitful and fraud. You cannot believe them. It will all boil down at the end of the day to whether or not the prophet or potential profit is worth the risk, including public exposure, said Charles Guys, an economist and finance professor at Manhattan College. Right, because they're being exposed, now they're going to try to figure out a way to diverse their portfolio and pull back from funding these private companies. Does that mean, will they entirely stop funding it? That's remains to be seen. And guess what? These banks are in cahoots with the tech companies. They're all for the mark of the beast. They're all for pushing this New World Order agenda. So of course not. They're just right now pleasing these activists by saying, yeah, we're going to divest, but we'll see. Because these devils don't do what they say they do, all right? They're all about lying and deceiving. JP Morgan, amid an aggressive expansion of its retail footprint, concluded that it was not. The bank's decision to divest from private prison operators Core Civic and Geo Group, first reported by Reuters, came after a dogged effort by immigrant rights groups. Protesters picketed Chief Executive Jamie Dimon's Manhattan apartment with a mariachi band, and at another demonstration, a sound system blasted recording cries of separated immigrant children begging for their parents' right. So that's what made them make this statement. Okay, we're going to divest from our investments in these private companies. They had to hear children crying. That's why I put that image up of the children crying in that video, all right, because that's what they were hearing. You see how these devils operate, man? They didn't give a damn until they were being exploited, until they were being pressured by these activists, and then all of a sudden now they had to make a public statement. And that's what they do, man, all right? Because this devil doesn't like he doesn't like fingers being pointed at him, because he's the devil, man, all right? He's in his pomp and his pride. All right, let's see. Back to the book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 4. Psalms 10 and 3. Psalms 10 and 2. The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken the devices that they have imagined. Verse 3, here's the point. For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire, and blessed the covenants whom the Lord abhorreth right. And that's what it is, man. This devil boasts about himself, all right? And so he'll finesse with his words and say, yeah, we're going to now fix this. We're looking into it. But at the end of the day, he's all about making money off our people, man. Let's go to another article. Prison shares rise as U.S. eyes more migrant family detention space. Right. Shares in private prison operators, Core Civic. Now this came out I believe, in last year, 2018. All right, just to show you how this has been going on for a very long time. Shares in private prison operators, Core Civic Inc. and Geo Group rose on Friday as investors bet on increasing demand for their services after U.S. authorities asked about available capacity for detention of immigrant families. Right. You got a lot of people invested in these private companies, man. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security Office of Immigration and Customs Enforcement issued a request for information on Friday afternoon about potential facilities from different providers to accommodate up to 15,000 beds, ideally in several locations. The move came after U.S. President Donald Trump issued an executive order on Wednesday aimed at ending his controversial policy of separating immigrant children from their parents caught entering the country illegally. Right. So, hey, we got to build more camps, FEMA camps, okay? Detention facilities, they want to say, all right? And Core Civic and Geo Group are all behind it, and you having these banks invested in it. You're having these tech companies invested in it. Okay? And you're having, last but not least, A-plus A-list celebrities and athletes, okay, investing in it. And now they got exposed. Now, this article came out in March. So as of right now, they're still investing in it, okay? What do actresses, Alasia Rand, wait, first let's read this. 30 A-list celebs and athletes will divest from private prison investment, meaning they'll divest. Does that mean that they're going to entirely pull out from investing? Well, that remains to be seen. What do actress Zaya Reyna, football linebacker Derek Morgan, right, a coon, and activist Gloria Steinem have in common, aside from being super A-list celebrities, that is? The answer? They're all participating in real money moves, a new initiative aimed in part at divesting from private prison investments, organized by the Candid Group, an Oakland, California-based impact investment adversary firm with a focus on social justice. So now they want to stop investing in private prison investments. Guess what, you sons of bitches? You ain't escaping the wrath of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You will burn here, all right? You made all this money for the past decades. Now that you've been exposed because of this immigration, situation, crisis, now you want to say, oh no, we're divesting our investments in the private prison companies, all right? We're looking into this. Some of these celebs have committed to becoming impact investors for social entrepreneurs. Of course, it means new potential sources of funding that come with an extra bit of dazzle. The private prison industry, according to many reports, have been profiting handsomely from current immigration policy, including family detention. With that in mind, Candid Group decided to launch the initiative with a roast of mega celebrities and athletes to remove investments money from such companies. Oh, now they're going to do it because it has been exposed. You see how these devils operate? All right? Your 30 celebrities are now being exposed, so now they're like, oh, we got to stop this. But guess what? The Lord already said this in the scriptures, so there's no escaping your judgment. But they, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 9, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. And that's what you did, okay? With your investments, okay? All your companies have been investing in the private prison, industry for far too long. And now you're being exposed, man. You destroyed so many people's lives. You made money off the exploitation of the Israelites, all right? And so you've been caught. And the Lord has seen it, and he will judge you. None of you are escaping. You're all going to die here, all right? Verse 10, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which some covet after. They have erred from the faith, and that's our people, because, all right, you have a lot of celebrities, sports players that have heavily invested in the prison industrial complex. So you err from the faith. So you're going to die here with your daddy, the red Hebrew Edomite, and pierce himself through many sorrows. Right. That's why destruction is coming to America. That's why you're going to get judged. Death is coming here, man. Death is coming here. Living in the last days. All right? You reaped what you sow. Hey, what is that? Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived. Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Right. So you sold iniquity. You sold in these investments and the exploitation of the Israelites. All right. In their affliction, in their oppression. All right. In their suffering. All right. Because yet, we hear the great millstone. We understand this is the Lord's judgment. But you devils have been profiting off our oppression, man. So the Lord has to judge you for that too, all right? 2 wrongs don't make a right. You understand that? 2 wrongs don't make a right. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. You sowed iniquity, you're going to reap iniquity. Death is coming to America. Death is coming to you celebrities, all right? You bankers, you tech fuck boys, all you sons of bitches. all right? And there's nothing you could do about it because the prophets are out. We're exposing you, all right? We're living in the last days. And with that, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Mokah Kodash. Double honors to the apostle, great millstone, who ruled well and taught us this truth. And salutation to the Akim out there, pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life to do so for Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep doing, keep the faith. And with that, Abba Babal, Shalom.